Deebo wants out, and the Niners, I think, want him out. Bring us your best option. By the way, just because Deebo brings it to him doesn't mean that they have to take it. I couldn't believe what I was watching over and over and over again. I think one of the lessons here is how hard this all is. The Kansas City Chiefs got maybe the best quarterback living, breathing on the planet today. And they've got a coach whose level of success is no longer being questioned. Can he attain it? Andy Reid has been to the mountaintop. He has seen the view. Andy Reid, he gets 2 weeks to prepare. You're basically in a mathematical guaranteed to lose this game type of situation historically in Andy Reid's career. You give him time to prepare, you are in trouble. Unless you were the Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans last night. I don't know if the Kansas City Chiefs ran consecutive successful plays. That's how bad that was. Unbelievable. A couple years ago, half the NFL universe had Nick Sirianni fired for getting in arguments with fans and just not getting it done. And I don't know about Sirianni, blah, 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 blah. Well, right now, Nick Sirianni is the 5th highest winning percentage in NFL history and has been to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years with a win, obviously, Sunday in New Orleans. Howie Roseman, without a doubt, now wears the crown of best general manager in maybe sports. Maybe all of sports, to be honest with you, because he's done something that I think is the feather in the cap of any general manager. Not can you do it once with your guys, but can you do it twice with different guys? Howie Roseman has now won 2 Super Bowls with 2 different quarterbacks and 2 different head coaches. That's stunning. That's stunning. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Howie Roseman will be a general manager who goes to the Hall of Fame. Vic Fangio is the guy that the 49ers should have hired instead of Steve Wilkes. He's the guy that the 49ers should have hired instead of Nick Sorensen. He's the guy that they probably should have abandoned the wide 9 for, because Vic Fangio, who had been 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes in his career, he got it all back last night. I have never seen Patrick Mahomes sped up like that. I've never seen Patrick Mahomes look as uncomfortable as that in any game I've ever seen him play. And look, how do you want to measure these things? What equals that's the worst game in that guy's career? Well, when you have a bad game in a Super Bowl, that goes right to the top of the list. One of the things that Tom Brady said that was actually insightful this week leading up to the Super Bowl was talking about how he dealt with a lot of Super Bowl losses in his career and how the Super Bowl losses are brought up to him more than any Super Bowl victory. I think it's an impression of how kind of negatively wired we all are as sports fans. But the loss, the bitterness of loss stays on players and coaches and fans' taste buds more than the sweetness of victory. That always happens. We see that all the time. And this is going to sting Patrick Mahomes. Brady said there's a big difference being 4-1 in Super Bowls and 3-2. He's right about that. There's certainly a big difference when, your 3-2 record now includes one of the all-time depancings in Super Bowl history. I mean, at one point in that game, Kansas City didn't cross the 50-yard line until late in the third quarter. Kansas City did not score in this game until the final minute of the third quarter. Mahomes sacked 6 times. 6 sacks for Patrick Mahomes. He throws 2 interceptions. And, Jalen Hurts, he was the MVP because you just, I guess, can't give MVP to an entire defense. But if we were trying to award an MVP that really spoke to how this game played, even though Hurts generated all the offense and Saquon Barkley did not nearly have the game that a lot of people thought that he might have. Saquon Barkley's day is one of the only things about this game I really handicapped well. It was the Eagles defense that carried them to victory. I mean, Hurts was really good. And look, when you look at what Hurts did just running the football, You know, a lot of people, I think, looked at Hurts' passing numbers and said, well, I don't know if he should be MVP. You look at what he did on the ground, too. Jalen Hurts had a very historic game last night. As a matter of fact, Hurts is now the only quarterback in NFL history to do all of the following in any single game, whether it be regular or postseason. Jalen Hurts threw for over 200 yards, rushed for over 70 yards, threw multiple touchdown passes, rushed for a touchdown, completed 75% of his passes, and averaged more than 10 yards per pass attempt while winning the game. Jalen Hurts is the first quarterback to ever do all of that in one game in the NFL, regular season, postseason, Super Bowl or not. But let me tell you what's coming up right around the corner, and that is this offseason, and it's going to be a fascinating one for the San Francisco 49ers, really for the league all around. This is a huge, huge year for the Shanahan-Lynch regime. Obviously, the decisions that they make in free agency, this draft, what they do around Brock Purdy's contract is going to be one of the most leaning in, forward-thinking off seasons we've had in a while. And the Niners cannot afford to screw this up at all. There's a lot of moving parts that going into making the right 49er. And they need to draft more guys who are playing next year than more guys who don't work out, because that is got a last place schedule. You got a team that should be coming out angry and motivated after the disappointing season it just had. And if you thought that Deebo was a guy who started working against 49ers success, not necessarily towards 49ers success, well, it seems like Deebo might be the next guy out the door. As Adam Schefter reported Sunday morning from New Orleans, the 49ers have granted Deebo Samuel the opportunity to seek a trade to another team. So what in that action alone does that mean? Deebo wants out. And the Niners, I think, want him out. And they basically said, Deebo, we might have tried to do this, but we didn't get a number that we liked. We didn't get a return that we thought was right. If you and your agent can put something together, we couldn't. Bring us your best option. By the way, just because Deebo brings it to them doesn't mean that they have to take it. But it is a very weird situation. And look, Deebo, there's a lot to like about the player. There's a lot to stop believing in the player. Is he a little bit of a, diva distraction, good for the overall chemistry of the team? There are examples of yes. There are examples of no. I honestly, I don't care how he gets along with anybody. Like Deebo Samuel could be leaving freaking dumps in everybody's locker. If he is playing his ass off, who cares? He's not that guy anymore. I don't know if he's going to be fast enough to be that guy. He's a $28 million a year special teamer gadget guy. What could you ever get for Deebo Samuel? There's no way the Niners are able to extract a 4th-round pick out of anybody for him. A 5th rounder? Well, now you got to ask yourself, what really is going to help you more next year, in a year where you're not going to have Brandon Ayuk until around Christmas? As much as Deebo ain't perfect, he knows the system. Would you rather have that 5th, 6th rounder, or disgruntled, would rather not be here Deebo? I don't know. I've been saying for years now, Kyle needs some responsibilities taken off of his plate. I feel like he just needs to get back to coaching. But I don't think I trust John Lynch to just get it all done himself. What if I told you that the problem with the 49ers wasn't the quarterback, it wasn't the head coach, it might be the general manager? I don't know. I guess we need another draft to see what John Lynch is going to do, because of all of his draft picks, he's had more not work out than work out. And I know that, a lot of GMs have that formula working for them as well, but you cannot consistently miss out on day 1, day 2 picks and fancy yourself a contender for very long. Again, the bill for the Trey Lance debacle, the bill for, several early draft picks that did not work out, the bill hit the table this season for the 49ers. And there wasn't any amount of looking around in his pockets for extra cash that Kyle could pay this bill with. The bill was too much. Thanks for watching. Tune into the Damon Bruce Show live on YouTube every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.